Hey everyone, once again, this is Dr. Cortez. And today we're going to continue discussion. Ito naman yung chapter 5 ng isang basic research. So, as I recall, chapter 4, we talk about the interpretation, analysis, and presentation of data. No, yun ating title sa chapter 4. So, sa chapter 4 natin, we presented the tables, we presented the data and the tables, we interpret the data, we discuss the data below the table, no? And yun ating part ng chapter 4. So, we presented. Now, sa chapter 5, chapter 5 should jive with your chapter 4. Ibig sabihin, yung tables or data presented in your chapter 4, we're going to summarize those sa ating chapter 5. So, the title of chapter 5 is this one, summary of findings, conclusions, and recommendations. So, that is the proper way. We summarize first the findings, then we conclude findings, and we make recommendation. So that is FCR. We can present this in FCR: findings, conclusion, and recommendations. So you may start your chapter 5 once again by doing the proper introduction of the chapter, like this one. This chapter presents the summary of the study, the summary of findings. It includes the findings based on the table presented. We presented the data and the table, so we will summarize what are the findings based from the table, and we make the conclusion, and we make the proper recommendation. And sometimes it is also appropriate if you're going to repeat yung objectives ng iyong study para malaman ng mga readers ng iyong paper ano ba ang findings ng isang table, ng isang objective. So we may include, we may repeat ano ba ang objectives para malaman ng readers para saan ba isang particular findings, no? Ano yung objective na kanyang sinasagot. Ayan. So, but some format, some panel members, some evaluators will not include anymore. Sometimes they will ask you to just delete yung objectives sa chapter 5. But sometimes, may mga evaluators that will ask you to present once again the objective sa yung chapter 5. For this format, we're going to present, no, para hindi natin binabalikan sa chapter 1 yung objectives natin. We may present as well here yung objectives natin. So if we may repeat, objective is we're going to show the demographic profile. Ito yung presented natin sa ating chapter 4, age, gender, and nature of work. Then our objective number 2, we presented yung frequency, how often yung the respondents encounter yung mga risks sa isang online or electronic stores, like financial, product risk, convenience, and delivery. And how often, is it always, sometimes, rarely, or talagang totally never encountered yung mga risks na to. And for objective number 3, we're going to find out how frequent then the experience, the usability of the factors in online shopping, and determine if the significance difference. Now, although itong number 4 ay hindi na ito although these are still presented in the table, no? But sa ating discussion last time sa ating chapter 4, we bypass itong part na to Kasi sobrang dami, no? Sobrang dami ng table sa ating discussion. Chapter 4, we bypass this one. But for the sake of discussion, ito yung ating mga tables na presented. We also identify the challenges that limit the satisfaction. And the last objective, it is usually the last objective. We are going to develop strategies, policies, programs, or proposal para sa ating paper. No? On this particular topic, researcher develop strategies that can be employed in electronic shopping. That is, this one are the one that we presented at the end of our chapter 4 discussion. And the first thing we presented is yung summary of findings ng ating study. So you can start this one by this paragraph. This study was conducted to come up with a guide to serve as basis in improving strategies that can be employed in electronic shopping. And so all the indicators were evaluated by the selected respondents around Metro Manila. So you can mention once again here yung scope when it comes to the respondents. Sa Balanggaan yung mga respondents natin in Metro Manila. And based from the data gathered, the researcher came up with the following findings. So ito na yung ating, we're now going to present here yung findings ng ating mga study. If you can recall, sa ating chapter 4, we presented the demographic profile ng mga respondents sa table. No? Ito sa chapter 5 naman, we're just going to summarize yung laman ng ating, yung findings ng ating table number 1. And if you can recall, table number 1, it talks about the description of the customer respondents as to age. No? We presented doon yung mga first column, yung indicators natin sa chapter 4. No? We presented indicators, din column 2 with the frequency, column 3 the percentage, and column 3 the ranking. So dito, hindi na sa table, but we're just going to narrate in narrative form yung table natin sa ating chapter 4. So, basically, itong kanyang laman, no? We're just going to mention here yung first column, the indicators, second column, ang table natin, the frequency, and third column, yung kanyang percentage. Ayan. Okay? So, yung top 3 ng ating demographic profile ng age, we mention here, no? Ang pangalawa, yung mga nasa age na 31 to 40. Pangatlo, mga age na 41 to 50. Ayan. So, ito yung top 3 na pinipresent natin dito, no, sa ating findings. So, all of them are the same. May indicator, may frequency, may percentage. So very simple, no? Straightforward, walang masyadong halong discussion. So we present here what we see in the table. Ito ang ating ilalagay dito sa ating first summary of findings. And in our table number 2, we recall that we presented the gender of the respondents. So we presented the respondents based on the gender. So, dalawa lang naman sila doon, di ba? Yung male and female, 71 and 31 respondents. So, very straightforward, no, yung ating findings. So, the same thing with the description of the customer as to the nature of their work. So, those are the demographic profile findings na. Then sa ating finding number 4, sa ating table, we presented the response of the respondents based on their encounter of financial risk and difficulty in website services. Gaano ka-frequently nilang na-encounter yung mga risk. Ito yung kanyang laman, no? So we also enumerate here yung top 3 ng table number 4. Ang top 1 natin was itong letter A. Then rank 1 natin, indicator, expensive shipping fee. Right? We mentioned the weighted mean and its equivalent verbal interpretation, which is sometimes. Ito nanggaling to doon sa ating table. Di ba sa ilalim may mga doon, mga legend. So we determine if what is the equivalent of 3.14. So it is sometimes. No? And we also write here on top 2, yung rank number 2. So basically that is rank 1, rank 2, and rank 3. So consistently we only mention the top 3 sa ating findings. Then on the respondents encounter of product risk, so ganun din siya, no? Sa ating table number 5, we present here the top 3. Rank 1 is it means letter A is the rank 1, letter B is the rank 2, and letter C is the rank 3 sa ating table. So once again, we just present here yung top 3 ng ating mga tables. Ayan. So most of them are Likert, no? Kasi pag weighted mean, it means Likert or rating question yung ating pinipresent dito sa findings. That is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No? So majority of these are Likert scale, no? So kita mo naman dito, the first 3 in rank, 2.75 weighted mean. So that is Likert, no? And 7, table 7, no? So ganoon din, we're consistent. Top 1, rank 1, rank 2, and rank 3. Yan. So top 3 yung ating represent dyan. So madali lang siyang gawin kasi we just summarize yung laman ng ating table. We don't have much discussion sa pagdating sa findings, no? Talagang straightforward yung laman ng table lang talaga. Chapter 4 kasi, if you can recall, meron siyang presentation tapos ilalim ng paragraph, meron pa siyang discussion, no? That was in chapter 4. Pero dito, very straightforward tayo. Yung we just identify yung top 3 in rankings, mentioning the indicator, mentioning the frequency, the weighted mean, and mentioning the percentage. So let's say pare-pareho na, top 3. Table number 9, top 3. But you will notice sa ating chapter 4, hindi natin diniscuss lahat ng table, no? If we can remember, we just discussed like 5 tables, pero actually, mga 14 tables, 13 tables na nakapresent sa chapter 4. It means you also have 14 findings. Kasi basically, if you have bawat table is equivalent to 1 findings. No? So, pag meron kang like 13 tables sa yung chapter 4 na nakapresent, so it means in your chapter 5, you'll also have 13 tables. So, bangga-bangga sila, no? Table 1 is finding 1. Table 2 is finding number 2. So, ganun yung ating flow. Bangga-bangga sila, no? Para pag nagbasa ng paper mo, a particular finding is answering a particular or presenting a particular table. Yan, no? Okay, we are now on number 10. Ayan. So, meron dito mga findings na hindi weighted mean or hindi siya frequency. Ito yung tinatawag natin mga significance difference, no? Pag significance difference, hindi sa weighted mean kundi yung we're using ANOVA or t-test, no? So Pag ang table mo is about ANOVA or t-test, so kanyang findings ay we don't mention anymore the frequency, the weighted mean, but ang findings natin doon is whether there was no significant difference in the encounter of the different types. No? So yun lang, wala sa masyadong numbers kasi we're talking about the significance difference or a relation ng dalawang set of variables. Okay, and ayan puro sa significance difference. But on the challenges, mayroon tong table that wherein we presented the challenges that limit the satisfaction of online customers sa mga stores. No? So we presented also as well yung mga challenges. Example, the first one in rank is this one, expensive. Yan, shipping fee. So, ganun din sila, no? We presented the Likert, the top 3, and the weighted mean. Yan. Now, meron tayong objective doon na we're going to develop a strategy. Isa lang subjective, no? Sa ating objective. So, pag meron kang objective na gano'n, you're also going to present yung findings, no? Example, on the development of strategies, ano ang ating findings dyan? So this one, the researcher was able to generate strategies based on the frequency of the different types of risk samples. Yun ang ating findings. Sabihin, if you have an objective of to generate or to prep or to develop a guideline, yun ang ating findings. Means we're able to develop a guideline based on sa mga data na ating nag-gathered sa ating mga respondents. And you may also add this one, no? You may also add this one. Although itong number 40 wala sang table, but you can add here sa yung findings na itong last findings, it jives with your objective. So pag mayroon kang findings, next one is conclusion. Kaya sabi ko kanina, i-present chapter 5 in the order of FCR, findings, conclusion, and recommendation. Parang ganito nangyari yan, pag sinabi natin findings, may nakita kang isang babae tapos isang lalaki naglalakad, nakita mo siya sa mall or sa catwalk or sa walkway or sa hall. Dalawang magkasama, ilang findings. Okay? Then, ano yung conclusion? Sabi mo siguro mag-boyfriend yung dalawang yun. So, yun ang conclusion. At sabi mo, pwede silang mamasyal ka sa mall, di ba? Pwede silang sa mga lugar. Kaya, sana magtagal sila, no? Yun ang recommendation. So, FCR, no? So after your findings, mag-conclude ka na. Doon sa nakita mo, no? Doon sa nakita mo, anong conclusion? So you may start with the opening paragraph like this one. In the rate, establishing an electronic shopping business is undoubtedly a good investment for budding entrepreneurs. And next paragraph, based on the summary of findings. So based on the findings, sabihin you're going to write the conclusion based sa findings. May pinanggalingan, no? Sabihin, you have finding number 1, so meron ka dapat na conclusion for finding number 1. So finding number 1 should match with conclusion number 1. Based on the summary of findings from the data gathered, the following conclusions are drawn by the researcher. Okay, so if you can recall, finding number 1, it talks about the age of respondents. Diba? Sabi nun sa ating finding number 1, 21 to 30 age ang ating rank number 1. Yan ang ating finding. Right? So how are you going to conclude? Anong conclusion mo dyan? Pag majority of the shoppers daw sa isang online are 21 to 30. How do you conclude? O, ito yung kanyang conclusion. Majority of the respondents belong to 21 to 30 bracket. Many of the respondents came from the younger generation up to their 30s. Kasi, younger generation or the young professionals still preferred to shop online, especially during this time of pandemic. Conclusion, so bakit daw 21 to 30, 21 to 30 rather, in ating conclusion. The online sellers can still market to those age bracket of 31 to 40 and 41 to 50. Since customers of this age levels have been learning how to benefits from transacting online. So, yun ang ating conclusion. And finding number 2, sabi ko kanina, finding number 2 should jive, conclusion number 2 should jive with your finding number 2. Kaya nga, F1 versus C1 or conclusion 1. F2, finding 2 versus C2 or conclusion number 2. So, ating conclusion number 2 is this one. Ano bang finding natin sa number 2 kanina? If we will go back, finding number 2 talks about the gender. Diba? At nakalagay dun sa findings natin. Majority of the shoppers are female. Yan ang findings natin. Then, how do you conclude? What is your conclusion? So, ito. The customer respondents of electronic shopping business may be described as to gender. Majority of the respondents belong to the 21-30, more female customers. For patronizing for female customers for patronizing online shopping services provided by different websites. So, conclusion. Okay, so it means conclusion 2 will answer finding number 1 or will conclude on finding number 1. Okay, so on number 3, it talks about the demographic profile pa rin ng nature of work ng mga respondent. So let's go to the succeeding conclusion. So if you will notice, ang conclusion natin, example, itong conclusion number 5, ito ay sumasagot doon sa ating finding number 5. So if you will notice, no, ang conclusion natin, as short as possible, no? Huwag natin masyadong habaan ang conclusion natin. We go straight to the point. Pag sinabi natin conclude, we conclude based on what we see sa ating findings. Example, conclusion number 5, online shoppers sometimes were worried about effective products. So ang finding kasi natin doon sa ating finding number 5, if we're going to go back sa ating finding number 5, so balikan natin yung ating finding number 5. Okay, ito yung ating finding number 5. Okay, ang finding number 5, sabi niya, the first 3 in rank were lack of reviews. So yan ay ating sasagutin sa ating conclusion number 5. Lack of reviews. So anong conclusion natin? So let's go to number 5. Conclusion. Online shoppers sometimes were worried about effective products. Ayan. So, nag-match siya sa ating finding number 5. So, lahat yan, basically guys, match-match. So, bangga-bangga ang ating ginagawa dito. Example, finding number 6. Tapos, kinukonclude natin siya. Itong conclusion number 6, it concludes on finding number 6. Ibig sabihin, if you have 14 findings, meron ka ring 14 conclusion. 14 findings, 14 conclusion. So, bangga-bangga, no? Magkakamatch yung mga yan. So, F is findings, C is conclusion. The last part of chapter 5 is you're going to write the reco. or recommendation. No? So, once again, you start with an opening introductory paragraph. So, based on the findings, then conclusion. Pagsusulat ka na ngayon ng recommendation. So, the recommendations based on findings and conclusions are the following. Okay. Ibig sabihin, your conclusion number 1, your recommendation number 1 is based on your conclusion number 1. So, finding number 1 versus conclusion number 1 versus recommendation number 1. Okay? O, anong sabi ng ating anong sabi nating conclusion number 1? Majority are 21 to 30. So, anong recommendation mo para doon? Okay? Younger generations of shoppers may be encouraged to continue patronizing online shopping. Sa ating reco, since we are just recommending or proposing, ang ginagamit nating word ay may. Okay, may. We are proposing, we are suggesting. Huwag tayong gagamit ng word na should. Okay? Huwag gumamit ng should. Okay? Ang should kasi, nag-uutos. Hindi man we are not authority, no? We should not be ordering somebody to use. We're just suggesting. That is why we're going to use the word may. Shoppers may be encouraged. Continue. Ayan. So parang you're just suggesting. Whereas more older people whereas older people may be motivated to be engaged, especially the middle age ones. Ating reco, no? Kung mag-reco rin tayo sa mga ating number 2 conclusion o ating conclusion number 2, sabi natin mas marami yung female na shoppers compared to male. So anong reco natin? Female customers may continue patronizing online shipping. Not shipping, but that's shopping. Okay, so consistent tayo with the word may. Gamitin natin yan. No? Okay, so if we're going to scroll down, lahat yan they are very short. Compared sa conclusion, ang ating reco ay very short, very straightforward. Sa conclusion. No? So pansin mo, di ba, mas likely ang reco. So, as much possible, you're going to shorten yung mga recommendations mo based sa iyong conclusion. Okay? So, basically, pag sinabing conclusion, reco, ano ba ang pwede mong i-suggest based sa yung na-conclude based sa findings ng iyong study. So, you have 14 findings, you have 14 conclusion, and you should also have 14 reco. 14 recommendations. Yan, no? 14. Right? Then pwede magdagdag dyan, future research, ito pwedeng, ito wala na to sa conclusion, but you can recommend that future researchers may explore other areas. Kasi itong research mo, limited to, no? Kaya meron kang scope and limitation eh. Meron kang hindi na isama sa iyong research. Hindi mo lang talaga pwedeng takupin ang lahat ng areas ng research. Nagtitira ka. Kaya meron kang scope and limitation of the study, no? Yung natitira, yun ang pwede pang pag-aralan ng ibang researchers na some years in the future, no? Kung gusto mo mag-research ng the same topic like what you have, you can recommend that future researchers may explore other areas that are not covered in your study, such as example, the study mo, you talk about the risk, no? Pero may mga areas pa rin ang iyong research na hindi mo nasama, like profitability, liquidity, and growth of online businesses. So, itong tatlong to, you can recommend, no? Na ito yung pwedeng pag-aralan pa ng mga future researchers. Kaya meron kang recommendation number 15. Yan, na. So very simple, no? That is very short for chapter 5. So findings, conclusion, and recommendations. So this is the end of chapter 5, no? Then sa yung chapter at the end of your following chapter 5, no? Following chapter 5, you're not going to write the references section. But that is another topic. That is another topic of our lessons for sometimes later on this week we're going to shoot or a lesson naman about the writing the appendices section of your research and writing the preliminary part of your research. So yun mo lang muna. At least we have finished now yung inyong chapter 4 and ito yung ating chapter 5. So I hope that you learned something from this lesson, and see you again guys, see you again people in our future lessons that I hope that you have learned something dito. So for the meantime, meanwhile, this has been Dr. Cortez signing off, and see you around guys. Bye bye. And sa mga hindi pa naka-subscribe sa aking munting channel, you may still subscribe. Thank you.